Hello, everyone. We're delighted to have Nik Peachey here for us this year. Nik is a teacher and teacher trainer, ICT trainer, and ELT author. Also, Nik works for Bell Educational Trust, developing online courses, including teaching online Delta courses. And he works for Westminster University, teaching on the MA TESOL course. So, well, we're very, very happy to have you here with us, Nik.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, thank you for, thank you for that. That's supposed to be at the end, but if you're still here at the end, that would be great. Okay, thank you first for inviting me. Thanks for the British Council for sort of paying for me to be here as well, and that's very nice. And thank you all for kind of staying on your Sunday, what's now almost Sunday evening, to sort of listen to me talking about technology. I'll try not to talk too much and try and show you some things, and hopefully some things that you might like or some things that will work, and maybe get you talking to each other a bit. I tend to get a bit carried away at these things and maybe speak too fast sometimes, especially as I've had a lot of coffee. So if I start speaking too quickly, start waving your hands like this. Okay, this one for a question, okay? And for going too fast like this. Okay, so I'll try and keep in control of that. The session's on using technology with young learners. And that's sort of me, or supposed to be me. I sell myself as a sort of learning technology consultant, teacher trainer, writer. Really, I'm a kind of ELT technology odd job man. You know, I do whatever needs to be done to sort of get by and pay the rent at the end of the month. You know, and most months I sort of scrape by there. As Anna said, I also work for Bell Educational Trust and for Westminster University, teaching on the MA TESOL Media and Technology. You don't need, this is the only thing you need to write down during this session. If you copy this URL, and it's HTTP, whatever that is, plus tinyurl.com and then a slash, then 6DOLMVN. If you copy that down, after this session, you can download the complete presentation with all the notes and with all the links and the URLs and all the pictures and everything. So that should have everything we sort of deal with here should be on there. Okay, so you don't need to sort of write down lots of notes and try to copy down URLs of websites and things like that. Just write this one down, get it right, download the presentation afterwards, everything's there. So that's the good news. In fact, we could just do that and we could all go home now, so. Okay, so I'm going to start you off with a question to ask the person next to you. Using technology with kids and teens, why not? And that, I don't mean that, oh, why not? I mean that, seriously, why not? Why not do it? There are some good reasons for actually not using technology with kids. In fact, there are some good reasons for not using technology at all in the classroom. I can think of lots. So ask the person next to you, what do they think? What are the reasons for not using it? I'll give you 30 seconds to a minute to find out from the person next to you. Reasons against. Okay, I'm going to stop you now. I'm tempted to run out in the audience now and hand you the microphone and get people to sort of say what they think, but I won't. I wonder if this came up. Not that one, but this one. Fear? For me, one of the biggest reasons for not using it is fear, actually. Fear of what can go wrong, because there are so many things that can go wrong. Stepping away from the fear and getting towards something more rational, because, you know, we all have to live with that fear, I think. I decided to do some research into why teachers didn't use technology with kids or young learners, or what put them off. Because there is more reluctance with young learners than with adults. And I brainstormed some things that I thought might be relevant. And here's some of the things that I came up with. See if there are any of these things that were mentioned when you talk to the person next to you. Anybody mention any of those things? Yeah, You can lie if you like. And here's just a couple more. These ones too. Any of those ones come up? Okay, that's good. So I guessed some of the right things at least. I decided to put all these into a questionnaire and launch it onto the internet, and using something called ERTAC. It's a very simple tool for creating social polls, and people can just then go there and vote against the ones that they think are problems or whether they're not, and then they can compare their answers to everybody else's. It was an interesting survey, and it got nearly 20,000 responses. It's still live, and the URL is here. So when you download the presentation, if you want to go there and add your vote, then by all means do, and have your say as well, and compare the questions to what other people have answered. It won't cost you anything, it's free. I should say that actually. Everything I'm talking about today is free. So it's never going to cost you anything. Anyway, the results I thought were quite surprising. We should take into account though that this is a poll of the people who are already online, teachers who are already working online, so they're probably the most confident teachers. And the things that came up as being most popular problems are these. Restrictions and rules put in place by administration. It tends to be a problem because the sites that teachers want to access are blocked by within their school or within their IT department. Facebook, YouTube, sometimes anything with a tiny URL, sometimes things like Flickr because they have images, all sorts of reasons and all different sites. This kind of surprised me a lot because a lot of these are what I call, or what people in IT call, picnic problems. Has anybody ever heard of an acronym called PICNIC? PICNIC stands for problem in chair, not in computer. And so these are what I call picnic problems, and they're problems that are created by people rather than problems that are created by the technology. For example, those restrictions and rules put in place by the administration, they're people problems, and often through a lack of understanding or a lack of knowledge how to do things well, or sometimes just through laziness, you know. Not all of them are, but quite a few of them are, and that's kind of sad, I thought. That it kind of leaves teachers between a rock and a hard place, really. You know, we have schools who want us to use the internet in the classroom. We have teachers who want their parents educated in how to use the internet as an educational tool. And so we as teachers are expected to do all these things, and then, you know, when you come to use the sites or you come to get connectivity, you know, your administration, the same administration that wants you to use the internet, is also blocking you and stopping you from using it. And that can be really difficult and really irritating. So, what can we do? The rest of this talk is really going to be suggestions and some suggestions and possible tools that you can use or employ to get around some of these things. The first one is something called Kidzooey, and what this is it's a safe web browser for children. And I'll try and show you it live if we can. Let's be ambitious. So instead of using something like Internet Explorer, you can use this type of safe web browser, and what it has is content that's designed that comes from the real internet, but the makers of the browser have decided what parts of it are safe for children to look at. So you can let kids in to use this browser instead of Internet Explorer, and they can search through different things that are specifically, you know, have been tested or trialed or looked at to make sure that they're safe for kids. And they have some kind of nice sections. They have sections on games, so you can find games quite easily. Holiday activities. In some cases they actually divide into things that are more suitable for boys or more suitable for girls. And so your kids can kind of access the real internet through this, and you don't have to worry about them coming across something that's unsuitable. So I find that quite a useful tool. What's also nice about it is it does have some elements of social networking about it. Your kids can start building social networks with other kids and interacting through the browser, so that they don't have to go onto Facebook to kind of meet with their friends and to chat with their friends, and it starts to educate them about how to use those things in a safe environment. As a teacher or a parent, you can also register yourself and help to register your kids, and then the activity and the things that kids are doing on it are tracked, and so you can then get a report back of what sites they've accessed and who they've talked to, and what kinds of things they're doing. So it is much safer, and you can find out, if you're setting them videos to do for homework as well, you can find out whether they're doing them or not, which is kind of nice too. So that's one suggestion and one way of getting around some of the possible problems that teachers face with using the internet. Okay, so that's a kind of web browser for kids. It has rich media. A lot of the stuff in there is really nice, colourful, and it introduces kids to social networking, and parents can monitor what they're doing. There are some pros and cons of it. So these are the pros that we've already discussed. Some of the downsides of it is that it requires download. So you have to download it and install it on a computer. So if you work in a school where where you have an IT manager who controls those kinds of things, you have to talk to him or her and make them agree to download it and make sure it's safe. Actually, question, how many of you do work in a school that has an IT manager that controls the network? Most of you don't. Then you're very lucky, actually, if you don't. Ironically, the IT manager should be your best friend and should help and support you to do things, but generally they're the biggest problem that you face in your life as a teacher, because they're the gatekeeper between you and the technology, and they're the person who tells you you can't do this most of the time, which is a bit sad. So it will require some kind of download. It doesn't interact well with other computer tools, which can be a disadvantage. So you can't cut and paste a document from the browser into Word and back and forth like that. So in some ways, for building digital literacies, that can be a disadvantage. And there's a paid version that has better features. So you might get your kids using it and they really like it, and all of a sudden, hey, they want these features that you have to pay for. But it's a very small amount of money. So you can decide about whether that's worth it or not. I'll give you 30 seconds break to talk to the person next to you, to ask them what they thought of that. Ask the person next to you, what do you think about that? 30 seconds. Okay, got a question. I think it's sort of good for sort of 3 to 4 years upwards. I mean, the age at which they start to lose interest will vary from student to student. Like my daughter's 12 now, and she wouldn't touch it now. She's on Facebook, and I'm allowed to be her friend as long as I don't comment on anything she posts. So it's probably from about 4 years upwards up to about they'll start losing interest about 8 to 10, I would have thought, and start wanting sort of the realities of the internet. But that's a period during which you can safely educate them how to use these tools. Any other questions before I move on? That was